It is, oh, the rate of change. The one with the x plus h.
That's a difference quotient. So this will be given to you. So f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h. So obviously there is nothing we can do to f of x. It's given to us. There is nothing I can do to h. That's clear. So I have to work on this first before I put all those three pieces together. So the function is telling us 2 times whatever squared plus 7 times whatever minus 10. Now this is x plus h, and this is x plus h. That's the pattern. When I'm asked to find f of x plus h, it means that I have to replace x by the new argument. So therefore, f of x plus h, stop me if you have questions. Is this okay? Plus 7x plus h and minus 10. Is this okay? Is this part clear, everyone? Yes? But then we have to square first. So when I square this, remember from the first day of classes, we have x squared plus 2xh plus h squared plus 7x plus 7h minus 10. And then I distribute the 2. I cannot distribute before I square, right? Oops. Is this okay? So once we get this taken care of, the rest should follow. Why? Because we know two things must happen for any function when we calculate the difference quotient. What are those things that have to happen? All terms without h from the top must go away, and eventually this h must go away. You have to remember that, because if that doesn't happen, then you know you have an error, and you will go back and find your error. Is that clear? Is everything okay for f of x plus h? Yes, everyone? So then, yes? Yes, everyone? Okay. So then I can continue here, and the first thing I do, I have to copy all this. So this is 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared plus 7x plus 7h minus 10. The denominator is h. But now be careful what happens next. There is a minus sign in front of f of x, which means you have to distribute the negative sign to all three terms. That's how we get negative 2x squared minus 7x and plus 10. Now you can, if it's easier for you, put minus and then parentheses and then distribute later. But do you really want to write this one more time, this whole thing? That's why I recommend when you get to negative, just distribute it and put it in. Would you agree with that? So now remember two things one more time. Everything that has no h in it must go away. You cannot just erase them. They have to cancel. If they don't cancel, something is wrong. So then negative 7x with positive 7x and 10 with negative 10. At this point, you should count the number of terms that are left over, and all those should have what in common? Yes, exactly. Awesome. And they do. And that's how we get rid of the h in the denominator, because now that is a factor. Please do not cancel in a sum. You know, it's not allowed. So then, how many terms are left at the top? Yes. So from 4xh, you took out an h, and it's left. Very good. Plus, from 2h squared, you took out an h, and you have 2h. And from 7h, we took out the h, and we have 7. And that is the simplified form of the difference quotient for this function, which gives the rate of change between 2 points.
So you can still keep the h even though you can take all the h out because it's squared.
Say it again.
So you still keep the h in the equation because it was squared, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, because h times 4x is this, h times this is this, and h times this is that. So the final answer can still have h, but not this one. This one is gone. And all terms without h from the top are gone as well. So the sequence of steps is this. First, the terms without h go away. And then the h in the denominator disappears by simplifying. Good, very good point. Anything else here? Anything else? Okay, so let's go back to page 267. And let's choose, let's say, 2 points. let's say problem 32, again on 267. And we are given 2 points, and one is negative 3, 6, and the other one is 3, negative 2. And they're asking us to find the equation passing through those points. What I would recommend is name those points, like x1, y1, and x2, y2, so you don't make a mistake. This is just a suggestion if you want to. So, how do I find the equation passing through 2 points? What is the first thing I need to determine? I need to determine the, very good, awesome. So let's write y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which will be negative 2 minus 6 over 3 plus 3. One more time, negative 2 minus 6 over 3 times minus and minus 3. The numerator is negative 8, the denominator is 6, and I'll simplify to negative 4/3. So this is the slope of the line passing through the given points. Now, what will be my next step? I need to find the equation. So I have the slope, what now? Remember, I have two possibilities, mx plus b, or y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. I will use y equals mx plus b only if any of the points is 0, b, 0, a number, but I don't have that. So don't waste your time. Since I do not have the y-intercept, I will use y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, where the slope is negative 4/3, and you can use any point you like. If I use the first point and use the second point, we will still get the same answer. Which point would you like to use? The negative 3, 6 or 3, negative 2? Very good. If you want 3, negative 2, then you have this. x1 is 3, y1 is negative 2. So y minus negative 2. That's why I wrote it like this so we don't make a mistake. So y plus 2 equals negative 4/3 x minus 3. I have to solve for y by distributing. I'll distribute negative 4/3, negative 4/3 x. And what do I get? How much is negative 4 over 3 times negative 3 over 1? You don't have to do it in your head, just do it on this. Say it again. So it's positive, right? Because first of all, we multiply. So it's positive indeed 4. Correct. Perfect. So then we subtract 2. I have to move 2 to the other side. Excellent. So then y equals negative 4/3 plus 2. So this is what we've been doing in all the prerequisite classes. I'm sure you remember this. Determining the equation of a line passing through 2 points. It must ring a bell, I'm sure. Any questions on this? Yes, please.
Can we do one by ourselves?
Yes. 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 So let's do one. Please do. Let's say 1, 2, and 4, negative 3. Good idea. How much did we get for the slope? Do we have the slope? Okay, so this is -3 minus 2 over 4 minus 1, correct? So this is -5 divided by 3. Perfect. So now you will be using y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Why? Because I intentionally did not give you 0, 5 or 0, 3 or 0, 20. I did not give you the y-intercept. So plug them in and tell me what you get. I would recommend writing it underneath before you rewrite again so you don't make a mistake. Because you may by mistake look at the second point or pick x from the first point and y from the second point. Who knows? Mistakes happen. So our test, one more time, is a week from today. I don't want to forget. I already moved it in the schedule. So if you look in the schedule in Canvas, you'll see. So this will be the intermediate step, correct? So y minus 2 equals -5/3 x minus 1. You don't have to use the point I chose. You can choose the other one. You will still get the same answer. And what next? We distribute, right? So we have to write -5/3 x plus 5/3 and +2. And we have to add these two. Is this okay? Are you with me so far?
That's because we're multiplying it, we're dividing it.
We're distributing. Yes, I'm distributing -5/3 to x and to -1. Is that okay?
Do you have a preference on how we get the answer, whether we give like 2 and 5/3 or 11/3?
We normally, it's a very good question. We prefer what it's called improper fractions. We don't need to take out the integers. Taking out the integers is a mixed number. An improper fraction is when the numerator is bigger than the denominator. And that's okay. And we know how to add these. What is the least common denominator? Yes. So then what is the adjustment of the top of this one? Because it has 1. Yes, you're right. It's 3, which is 6. So then 5 plus 6. Is that okay? Everyone got the same thing? -5/3 x plus 11/3? Yes? Are we okay? Everyone? Yes? Curious, is that okay?
Yeah, I was just.
But is it okay? Every step?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect, awesome. So let's look at 62. On the same page to 67, we are given 4x plus 6y plus 12 equals 0. They're asking us to graph. And I will add graph using x and y intercepts. X and y intercepts. I know you're used to also graph this equation using the slope. I don't recommend it. It's the only function that can be graphed using the slope. Forget about it. The x and y intercepts are the most important points. X and y intercepts. Now, I know you may say, well, solve for y. There is no need. Please don't solve for y. There is absolutely no need. So when I find the x-intercept of a function, this one or any other, what do I have to do? Where is the x-intercept? On the x-axis somewhere. What is the equation of this line? For what? There are two variables. No, 0 for x is 0 for x is position, location. I want altitude. I'm talking about the x-intercept. What is the equation of the x-axis? For y. 0 for y. It's a horizontal line. The x-axis is a horizontal line. Cannot have x equals. It's an altitude. It's not position. Position is x equals whatever. Altitude is y equals. Is that clear? Good. So when I determine the x-intercept, I have to set y equal to 0. So this is what I do. Y is 0. Please solve the equation for x. I covered y because that term is 0. You must move 12 to the other side and divide by 4. So then x will be? Very good. What is the ordered pair that we just determined?
0.
Careful.
Negative 3, 0.
Excellent. How do I determine the y-intercept? Excellent. X equals 0 because the y-axis is a vertical line which gives us position. The vertical line gives us x, right? So here's what I do, exactly the same. I cover that term. I'm not going to waste my time to solve for x or y or whatever. So I have x equals 0. I covered the term because it's 0. How much is y? Negative 2. And what is the ordered pair that I just determined, which represents the y-intercept?
0.
That's it. And now let's graph. I plot the 2 points. Negative 3, 0. Go ahead.
I'm good to know how you got negative.
Only which one?
Because like, for the,
For the first one?
no, like, well, how do you negative 3?
For the first one. Okay. Y 0. I move 12 to the other side, it becomes a negative number,
Okay,
and I divide by 4.
I got you.
See, if it's 3, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 12 will now be 0. Is that better?
No, I forgot that it would be negative. 'cause it was
Yes.
to the-
It's a linear equation, yes.
Alright, I got you.
Perfect. Ask any questions anytime, please. I don't want anyone to fall behind. So I plotted those two, connected and extended, and please write 4x plus 6y plus 12 equals 0, because that's what we graphed. Anywhere you want. It doesn't have to be on the right. It can be underneath. It can be on top of it, whatever it is. But you have to write what we graphed. Any questions for me? Yes. With x and y intercepts? Graphing, you mean?
Exactly what you just did.
So graphing using the x and y intercepts? Okay. Very good. Okay, so let's look at another problem. Like, let's say 3x plus 12 equals 0. This is 58. And also 55. Y equals 1. So 2 other examples. How will you graph the first one? First, you have to solve, right? So when you solve this equation, you get what? X equals? Do you all agree with x equals negative 4? We just talked about it, but we have to remember this. How do I graph x equals negative 4?
Negative 4.
That's not a point. We do not have negative 4 comma 0. Then I would have plotted 1 point. I have x equals negative 4. Y can be anything. What does that mean? Say it again.
Y is infinite.
Can be anything, which means
So x is
exactly. Exactly. X equals negative 4 is a vertical line. It gives position at x equals negative 4. Perfect. What about the other one? How will you graph the other one? Say it again. Exactly. It's the altitude. So this is y equals 1. Okay, please work on 64, which is 6x minus 5y minus 20 equals 0. We're asked to graph this equation using x and y intercepts. I'm sorry?
Can you go back down? What are the line? Oh, you just put it on the same graph.
Yes. I graphed them both on the same coordinate system.
Oh.
So we're graphing this line using x and y intercepts. Did anyone get the x-intercept or not yet? If you need more time, let me know. So for the x-intercept, we have to make, very good. All you have to do is just cover it. And tell me how much is y. Forgive me, the other way around. And tell me how much is x. So it's 20 over 6, right? So x equals 10/3. Do you all agree with 10/3, comma 0? Everyone? Yes?
Yes.
Is that okay? Therese?
Divide, we just divide.
Yeah, so because y was 0, negative 20 became positive. 20 divided by 6 is here, and 10/3. Is that okay?
Yeah, because we reduced it.
Yeah, simplified to 10/3, correct. So now the y-intercept. What do we get? How do we get the y-intercept? Yes, I make x equals 0, and I just have to cover it. And I get y. Do you all agree with -4? And the ordered pair would be? Right? Because we move -20 to the other side, it becomes 20 divided by -5 will be -4. Agreed? So this will be 0, -4. All you have to do is just plot those points and extend. So 0, -4. And 10/3 is a little bit more than 3. So I plot 1, 2, 3, and I just plot it here. It's difficult. 10/3 is difficult, right? So I write 6x minus 5y minus 20 equals 0. This is the graph, so I don't forget what I graphed. Any questions? That's a refresher, right? Okay, we remember this. Perfect. Okay. Let's take a look at the following. On page 279, I would like to look at problems 6 and 8 to 79. We start with 6. We're given some conditions, and we're asked to find the equation of a line that is passing through -2, -7, and parallel to the line whose equation is y equals -5x plus 4. Okay, so let me rephrase what this means, or what is it asking us to do. We are told there exists a line. I'm not graphing the line per se, I'm just giving you the idea. So there is a line whose equation is unknown, which I would like to be able to find. And I have 2 pieces of information about it. It passes through this point, which means somewhere along the line, let's say here, I have -2, -7. The line passes through this point. At the same time, is parallel to a line whose equation is given, y equals -5x plus 4. So the green line is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in finding the equation of the green line. And I know that it passes through the point -2, -7, which makes me think since it is the y-intercept or it is not. It is not the y-intercept. I will immediately write this. I will write my point as -2, -7, and I will ask myself, how will I determine the slope? Because if I determine the slope, I can have the equation. So, yes.
So isn't the second one, isn't that slope,
What is the slope of this line? I'm going to call it M2.
so isn't it, that's the slope from the y equals mx plus b?
Good. So what is the slope?
I never know how to do that.
But you just said y equals mx plus b. And what is the slope then? Perfect. No, without x. X has nothing to do with it, right? So then what is the slope of the green line? Right. Why is that? Because they're parallel. So I found the slope. I have a point. Can I determine the equation of that line?
Yeah.
I only have to plug it in. Is this okay?
Are we plugging in X?
Last time you were not here, two lines are parallel if they have the same slope.
Okay.
So if this one is -5, the other one is also -5. Two lines are parallel if they have the same slope. How we got -5? We compared with y equals mx plus b.
So what's
Yes?
the slope? That's the slope, the point slope form right there.
This one, yes.
Right. So, I'm confused. So we need to write that so we can.
I wrote this because I wanted to find the y.
Okay.
I have to find the y. And I plugged in the point, -2, -7, but I'm missing the slope. But I also was given another piece of information that this line that I'm trying to find the equation for, is parallel to this line. This line has slope -5, therefore the green line has to have slope -5.
We're not finished solving.
No, I just have to solve for y.
Okay.
So then we have y plus 7 equals -5 times x plus 2. And now I distribute. -5x minus 10 and minus 7. So the green line has the equation this. -5x minus 7. Is the idea clear? Forget about the calculations for a moment. Is the idea clear? Yes? Let's do one with number 8 with, yes?
So we're a little confused about the -5, parentheses x plus 2 on the right.
Yes, so this is the point, x1 comma y1, -2, -7. And once I have the slope, I just plugged it in. -2, -7, -2, -7.
Oh my gosh, I answered my own question.
Good. I love it. Less work for me. Thank you. So let's look at number 8. Same.
I'm sorry.
Yes?
I just want to see that. I'm trying to copy finish.
Yes. In number 8, we are given another point, but this time we are told it's perpendicular to another line whose equation is given. So same idea, -4 comma 2, but this time perpendicular to y equals 1/3 x plus 7. So before we move on to 8, do you have any questions for 6? Is this better? Yes? Questions? Trace?
But I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
So I'm going to use a graph. I'm not really graphing any particular equation. I'm just giving you the background. So there is a line whose equation I'm trying to find. And I know two things about it. One, that it passes through -4 comma 2. And secondly, it's perpendicular to a line whose equation is 1/3 x plus 7. Am I given the y-intercept? If I'm given the y-intercept, then I'll write y equals mx plus b. But if I'm not given the y-intercept, then I have to use the point slope form. Am I given the y-intercept? No. So I have to write y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, and I write the point underneath. And I'm going to ask you, I know it's a silly question, what am I missing? I'm missing the slope. But now I know something else. I know that these two lines are perpendicular. What is the slope of the red line? Very good. What could be the slope? So this is M1. What will be the slope of the line that I would like to determine?
Negative
Okay, say it again.
one. The negative one.
The product has to be -1. 1/3 times -1/3 is going to be -1/9. It's not going to give us -1. 2/3, 2/3 times 1/3 will give us 2/9. -3, indeed. -3/1 times 1/3 will equal -1. So if I am trying to determine M1 and I have M2 as being 1/3, right? So this is negative in front. I flip it and I get -3. So this slope is 1/3. How do I divide two fractions? I have to flip the denominator.
I guess I'm just having trouble understanding like why, like, I understand like just memorize that, but like, how does it make sense of a perpendicular line, you know? Like,
Oh.
parallel lines is easy because you know what they're gonna.
Correct. Correct. But two lines are perpendicular only if, otherwise they would be like this, which is not perpendicular. Or they would be like this, which is not perpendicular. So they are perpendicular only if the product of the slope is -1. There is no other way. They will never be perpendicular unless the product of the slopes equals -1. So -3 times 1/3 is exactly -1. Therefore, the lines are perpendicular. So I was given the fact that they are perpendicular. That was told. We were told that. So I know that the slope of this is 1/3. Then this one must be -3. It cannot be no other number because 1/3 times -3 is -1. So now I know the slope, and I know everything. So your question, I really don't think I answered the question. You're asking why the slopes have to be -1 in order for the lines to be perpendicular. It was calculated. It was calculated. So a long time ago, thousands of years ago, they said, okay, let's multiply these two slopes when they are perpendicular. They always came up with -1. Like, for example, how did they come up with pi as being 3.14, blah, blah, blah? How did they come up with that? Here's how they came up with it. Because this may answer your question. So they created several circles. So they created a circle, right? And they measured. Somehow they measured the circumference. Somehow they measured the radius. And they divided the circumference by the diameter, and they got it 3.14. Then they said, okay, let's create this circle. They measured the circumference, they measured the diameter, they divided the circumference by the diameter, they got 3.14. And then they measured this circle, the circumference, and they measured the diameter of the circle, and they divided, and it was pi again. So experimental. The same thing with the product being -1. So we have now y minus 2 equals -3x plus 4. See why I write it like this so I don't have to use parentheses? When I see minus minus, I change it into plus. Minus positive, it says negative. So I recommend this method if you like it. If you don't use it. That's fine. So then y equals -3x minus 12 and plus 2. So y equals -3x minus 10. So can anyone tell us what is this equation all about? What does it mean? It's the equation of the line that passes through -4, 2 and is perpendicular to 1/3 x plus 7. Guaranteed. Okay. Any questions? Yes, please, Riz, go ahead.
So, because I know.
Yes. Yes.
If the y-intercept was given then that.
I
that
would have
means that
used
zero.
y equals mx plus b. That would have been the only difference.
But the only time it's given is if x is 0.
Exactly.
And it's vice versa for
For the x-intercept.
the x-intercept.
Correct.
And then if that's the case, y, the slope-intercept.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, last concept before 2.5 that we need to look at is the average rate of change of a function between 2 points. The average rate of change of a function between 2 points. So here's a graph so I can explain what we're trying to do here. So P and Q are points on the graph, coordinates for x, x1, and x2. Can anyone give us the y-coordinate of P and the y-coordinate of Q? This concept is extremely important, and let me give you a hint. We have a function, and we say x is 2. How do you determine the y-coordinate? Say it again. Okay, so we have a function, one more time. We have a function, and I'm telling you x is 5. Find the y-coordinate of that point. What would you do?
5, 1, and then
You plug it in. Good. So now I'm telling you the x-coordinate is x1. What is the y-coordinate? Excellent. Please remember that this is a crucial, important, super important topic or idea. Okay, what is the y-coordinate of Q? Excellent. So the average rate of change is nothing else but the slope of this line. So the average rate of change between P and Q is, can anyone dictate the slope of this line?
absolute
Exactly, awesome. F of 2 minus
fx1.
f of x1, awesome, over, indeed. Excellent. This is the average rate of change for any function between 2 points. So let's look at the function. Problem 16 on 279. So we have f of x equals x squared minus 2x. We are given x1 equals 3 and x2 equals 6. We're given a function, and we are told find the average rate of change of this function between points P and Q, where x1 is 3 and x2 is 6. What do I need to find before I determine the average rate of change?
The slope.
That's what I need to determine, is the slope. The slope is the average rate of change. So I have this, which is
So you need the f of x1.
exactly, okay. So f of 3, please, and f of 6. That's what I don't have yet. I have the x coordinates, but I don't have the y coordinates. And the y coordinates are determined exactly how we just said. So please give me f of 3. Great job. So 3 squared is 9.
Sorry, I'm trying to do it.
That's okay.
So it's
So
3.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. Well done.
So 24.
So 36 minus 12, I agree with 24. Sharice, we got the same? Okay. I trust you. You're good with numbers. Good. So the average rate of change between 3 and 6, it's a comma here, sorry, is, can anyone dictate? I should write f of 6 minus f of 3 over 6 minus 3 for everyone to see the formula. And now let's replace them. Don't calculate anything for everyone to see. You will say what?
Oh, we're just writing it over.
24 minus
3.
over 6 minus 3. The numerator, do not try to simplify anything. Please be very careful. 24 minus 3 is, and 6 minus 3. Good. So the rate of change is 7. Just remember, this is an abstract function. But if you have, let's say the function is distance, and we have x, which is time, what would be the measurement units? Right, but the measurement unit has to have 2 measurement units. One coming from the measurement unit from the top over the measurement unit from the bottom. So if this is measured in miles and this is measured in hours, what is the measurement unit for 7?
Right.
Miles per hour. Very good. Okay, so please remember that. The average rate of change is a ratio, and the measurement unit, it has 2 parts. A measurement unit for the top, slash, or over per the measurement unit for the bottom. Any questions for me? 36 minus 12.
Okay.
Other questions, anything? Anyone? Is this okay, everyone? Yes? All the numbers are clear? Yes?